Hi everyone and happy Thursday. It is Heidi Reams again with Floyd County Conservation, and I am somewhere in Floyd County. But today I wanted to show you that if you wanted to get your little dose of vitamin N or vitamin nature, you don't have to travel a long distance. You don't even have to sometimes leave town to just be able to get away and get out into nature. So today, we'll turn you around here. I am at the trailhead to the Fossil Prairie Park, which is on the west side of Rockford. And so this trail actually will take you all the way to the Fossil Park. It brings you in down by the kilns that were used by the Rockford Brick and Tile Company. But it's a great way to be able to go for a little hike or go for a little walk and not have to travel too far, especially if you happen to live in Rockford. This would be nice and handy to go for a little walk in the woods in the evening. But it's just a reminder that if you're living in Charles City, you could walk down along the river. In North Springs, you could walk along the river. There are places that you could walk to be able to get in touch with nature without necessarily having to travel to it, which makes it a lot more enticing to be able to enjoy. So you can see this is one of our trails that is mowed and maintained. And sometimes it's just nice to get a break, to kind of decompress a little bit. And if we have to come back to one of my, what I called pandemic positives, when everyone was home and self-quarantine, I saw lots of people out walking around, out wanting to get out of the house. So just, find a trail or a park or something nearby and just get out and get into nature there. Doesn't take very long with the birds singing and the wind in the trees before you'll be focused again and can go back home and attack whatever task that you wanted to. I know along this trail, it's pretty common to see deer, turkeys, squirrels, rabbits, a lot of that wildlife. So you don't have to necessarily, make it a destination. There's lots of places close by. And the nice thing about this trail is it's nicely shaded, so on a hot day you can come through here and not get super hot while you're going through your walk. So hope everyone is taking advantage of getting outside on these nice days. It is totally gorgeous out today. It looks like it would be hot out if you haven't been out there yet. There's not a lot of wind today and not a lot of clouds, but the temperature is nearly perfect. A lot better than what it's going to be this weekend. I think we're going to be in the 90s again, I believe, on Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be a scorcher. So if you get a chance, you definitely want to get out today, maybe tomorrow. But be prepared for the heat to come back in the summer. So as you can see on a lot of our trails, we've got the mowed grass trail portion, a canopy of trees over. So as we get back into the routine of schools and helping our kids to learn again, we can talk colors. Is everything that's green out here the same green? This is a great time to learn your trees through leaf identification. Dendrology is the study of leaves. And a dendrologist, or a scientist that studies trees, can actually identify them by not only their leaves, by their bark, by their branch structure. But for the rest of us, it's easiest when we have those leaves on there to look for. And then, of course, typically we'd hear the birds singing. But as I'm talking and walking, I'm probably scaring them away as we go. But I thought we'd take this trail down. I'll show you where it crosses over the Winnebago River. And then you'll have an idea of exactly where you're venturing to as you come out and visit this trail. If you're wondering why it's so nice and flat, it's because originally this trail would have been the railroad tracks of the line that went from the main line in Rockford to the Rockford brick and tile site. And so they could load cars there and then bring them into the main line in Rockford and then off to their destination. So this is kind of a reclaimed railroad track area. And so that's why it's a nice flat section of trail. Pretty smooth. And you've got cornfields on both sides of you. Some blue jays that are in the trees overhead. In the springtime, with all those wildflowers that we talked about at Doshanic, there are some of those along the sides here as well. So, it's a great way to get out without having to get too far out. It's just a short little hike down to the river. You can obviously turn around and come back or have someone pick you up at the Fossil Park. So you can see it's pretty well shaded for the most part. It does open up here a little bit as we get closer to the river. And speaking of rivers, on these hot days, I hope everyone's getting out and taking advantage of having those rivers run through our county. I know a couple weeks ago when we had our river float, we had a great crowd that joined us, and we are looking to have another float in August. So please watch our Facebook page and our website calendar for information on those. It's a great way to social distance together, because once we're on the river, everyone gets a little spread out, but yet we're all doing and taking part of the same activity, which is great. Some grasshoppers jumping up in front of me. There's also some benches along this trail, so if you don't want to make it all the way to the river, you can definitely stop along the way to rest or just to stop and turn around. We have some nice concrete benches that were donated. So if you don't want to make this trek all at one time but want to break it up a little bit, you can feel free to stop and have a seat and just enjoy the nature that's around those benches. There's a turkey vulture flying overhead. Definitely a little warmer as we get into the sun, but still for the middle of July, this is not weather that we can complain about. Absolutely gorgeous outside. We'll have to remember these days when we get into January and February. And hopefully in January and February, I will have gone to all of our 33 areas. I'm almost about halfway. And next week we will get to some of those further reaching locations. So we can truly showcase all of the areas that Floyd County Conservation manages. Some blue jays talking to each other. You can see it's a pretty easy, short little walk down here to the bridge. I do know from the bridge to the Fossil Prairie Center, it's about 3/4 of a mile. So if you're wondering how far for distances it would be. We'll just get down to the bridge. We can show how the Winnebago River looks. Since we've kind of been dry for a while, we had good rain a little over a week ago, but not too much since then. So this walking bridge would have been the bridge that the train would have crossed. And so they just took the rails off and made it into a walking bridge. And you can see we're at the Winnebago River, which is down a little bit. I know typically that sandbar is not quite so big. And then on this side, we have the canoe and kayak access here. And then you can put in and go downriver. And the next takeout would be at the Doshonic Recreation Area. Because just south of Rockford, the Winnebago is going to join up with the Shell Rock River. And then you can continue down to the Doshonic Recreation Area or a little bit further into Marble Rock. And the site of the Rockford Brick and Tile Company and the kilns are just past these trees there. You can see one of the kilns in the background there. And then the center if you keep going. So hope you enjoyed our little hike. And take advantage of any trails that you might have in your hometown. Or any chance to get outside into nature. So hope you have a great weekend. Stay cool if that forecast is correct. And we will see you all on Tuesday from somewhere in Floyd County. Have a great day. Bye.